All right, hello everyone. How is everybody today? Hopefully you are doing fantastic. We'll get started in just a minute here. And guys, we're going to be going back to some traditional hard gel applications today. So if you are wanting to join in on the fun, grab your Synergy hard gels, grab your prep products, and we will get started in just a minute. All right, you guys, I'm still trying to pull up my chat here, and we'll see. There we go. There we go. I got my chat up and running today, so we are good to go. You guys, I've had some challenges getting my chat to work lately, but we are back on track, it looks like. So I can now still see you guys, see what you're talking about in the chat. So if you do have any questions, feel free to pop them in there. I will try to answer questions as I'm demoing here, but sometimes I can't quite keep up with what's going on in the chat. But we do have a great team of moderators here, and they can also answer some questions there for you. But welcome, welcome. I'm super excited to be back here. And again, super excited to be seeing the chat. You guys, it's great. It's a great day today. So we're going to start. Let me come in nice and close here. We're going to do, we're actually going to do this nail right here. I've got a nail that is already done. So we're going to give you guys the really good basics today. So we're going to always start with our prep, and I'm going to do a nice, quick, easy prep. So pushing back the cuticles, and then we're going to use our brand new sanding band. You guys know that I always change out my sanding band. For every new service, for every client, you always want to make sure that you're using that clean, brand new sanding band so that you've got great grit and you've got, again, that clean surface that you're going to be using on your clients. So I'm using my e-file here at about 5,000 RPMs, just came right up around that cuticle area, and then feathering my bit all the way through the rest of that nail to make sure that I've removed the shine. And we'll go into our dusting, brush off that nail. And right now my brush is dry. I don't have anything on there, just dusting off that extra dust on there. Once you've completely removed as much dust as you can, you're going to go into your swipe, and we're going to pump a little bit of that onto my manicure brush, and then we'll use that to really cleanse the nail. Now what the swipe is going to do, that's going to start to, or actually help to really clean off those extra little tiny particles of dust, and it's also going to help to remove those extra surface oils. So we want to make sure that we're working on a nice, clean, dry, oil-free surface. And this is also going to help with any germs or bacteria. So as you see that nail is starting to dry back out again, it is helping to kill off any germs or bacteria that might be on that nail. So nice and quick and easy, you guys. This is really as fast as your prep should be. Your prep should not take you a whole long time. And if you're spending a lot more time than what we just did on this one nail, you gotta start to rethink what's going on your prep, because again, your prep should take from start to finish, from pushing back the cuticles all the way through your 2 coats of protein bond. That should take you 3 to 5 minutes. Now you guys saw it was really fast how I just did this one nail. So make sure that this is all you're doing. I think sometimes people tend to try to add in extra steps, or they try to do too much cuticle work with their cuticle pusher, and they don't let their tools do the job that they're intended to do. So make sure, if you're struggling with your prep, we've got some great videos for you to watch here on our YouTube channel. We have over 3,000 videos, you guys. So we've got tons of videos to show you how to prep the nails, how to get your speed where it needs to be. But just really quickly, we did 2 coats of our protein bond. That's going to give our nails some great adhesion when we go into our hard gel. So always 2 coats when we're working on either a hard gel or an acrylic nail. All right, so nail is prepped and ready to go. We're going to come into our forms. I'm going to grab one of my forms, and we're going to be doing just, I would say, maybe a little bit longer than active length. So this nail I would definitely consider not quite active length. I would think that's a little bit longer than active length. So I would say a medium to a long nail. And this is again what we're gonna be going for here today. So I'm going to be using just one of our traditional blue forms. I don't think we're quite going to the length of using our XL forms today, but if you do want to create longer nails, we do have those XL forms for you. But you can see we've got our blue one here, and that's what we're going to be working with today. So I'm going to take that little tab right out of the center, and I'm going to stick that on the back. Now, sometimes you guys will notice I have the shiny side up, sometimes I have the sticky side up. It doesn't matter which side you put upward, as long as you have that little tab on the back. What that's going to do, that's going to give your form a little bit more of a firm feel when you are putting that form on. Now, let me just show you one other here, just really quick. If we didn't put that form or that little tab on the back, your form is going to tend to feel a lot more flimsy, and when you go to pinch those tabs together, you may end up creasing it a little bit more down the center than what you would need. With that little tab on the back, that's going to give us a little bit more of that firm feeling, and we're not going to be creasing it quite so much down the center. So it's just a little helpful trick to make sure that your form is going to go on nice and evenly, and nice and easy too. So we're going to just pinch these two little silver tabs together, nice and even. Again, you want to make sure that you're not overlapping one too far over the other. You want to make sure that they're coming together as close together as you can. That's going to allow your form to stay nice and straight. And because we're creating more of an almond to a stiletto, I would say more of an almond today, we're going to pinch that form all the way at the end. So all the way down to the end. If you want it a little bit shorter, which yeah, maybe we'll take it just a little bit shorter, you can pinch a little bit shorter down to the end. That's going to give you a really nice taper, a really nice point, so that you're going to get just that really nice almond shape or stiletto shape, just depending on what you want to do. So we're going to open up that little perforation at the top. We're going to get our form right up underneath our nail here. And you guys, I just put some cuticle oil on my hands here before we started. So I'm going to grab a new form. Because I've got a little bit of that oil on my skin, it's starting to get onto my form, and it's starting to take away a little bit of that sticky, tacky feeling. So it's not going to hold on to our trainer hand quite as well. So another trick there, make sure that you keep your hands nice and clean and put your oil on. Definitely put your oil on, but put it on a little earlier than I did. So that way you're not going to get that extra oil onto your form. All right, same thing, put that little tab on the back. We're going to pinch our two little silver tabs together nice and evenly. Pinch that free edge just a little bit shorter so that we've got more of a, I'm not even going to say an active length, but a shorter long nail. How's that? A shorter long nail. All right, again, open up that perforation. We're going to start with our form at a slight downward angle, bring that up underneath that nail, catch that natural free edge, and then lift up on the end, rocking that form up. And you can see that as I rock that form up, it really comes right up underneath that free edge, and it's going to sit flush up underneath that nail. We'll stick those two little sides down on the edge there, and if you look at this, you can see that that form just bows out a little bit. I'm going to come underneath there and pinch that a little bit more underneath, so instead of bowing out on the sides, it's going to be nice and tapered down those edges, okay? So just a couple, you guys, a lot of little tricks, tips and tricks here today that I'm going to be telling you that are hopefully going to make your gel applications a little bit easier. Now, just really quickly, I want to take a look from the side view, making sure that my form is coming nice and straight out. It's not angled downward. It's not angling upward. So that looks about how we want it. So nice and straight out. And I think we are ready for our application. All right, you guys, who's new to our channel? Let me know in the chat here. Who's new to our channel? Have you seen our live streams before? Have you not? I would love to see. And if you guys are new, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Join us, join our community. We love to share education with you guys. Deb is from Minnesota. I'm from Minnesota too, Deb. I didn't know that. Welcome. We're probably neighbors here. All right, you guys, I am going to grab 2 of our gels here. And first gel that we're going to be working with, actually one of the gels we're going to be working with, is our base concealer pink. Now, we've got 2 different base gels. So let me show you what we got here. So our concealer pink. We also have just our traditional clear base gel. And it really depends on what you want to work with. Now, you guys, my base gel, my clear base has a little bit of glitter down in the bottom just from doing dimensional nails and things like that. It's not going to come with the glitter in it, so just don't worry about that. But it is just a clear base, and we also have the concealer pink base. We do have a concealer peach as well. I don't have that one because I don't know that I want that as an option for today, but I do want to show you guys that if you prefer, you can use the clear, or you can also use the concealer pink, because what we're going to be using to build our nail today is our concealer blush. Now let me close these up really quick. So the concealer blush, this one that I'm working with today is in the Precision Applicator tube, and this one is, it's a concealer color, so it does have a little bit of pigment to it, so you're not going to be able to see through it. Let me see if I can show you guys, see if this will show up on camera. This one does have just a little hint of shimmer to it, a little bit of sparkle to it. So if you joined us yesterday, I used our Cover Blush acrylic. So today we're going to work with our Cover Blush gel. So it's a very similar look, just a different product. So yesterday, again, we were working with acrylic. Today we're going to be working with gel. So if you guys missed it yesterday, make sure to go back and rewatch yesterday's live stream, and you'll see how we were working with that color yesterday. But again, today we're going to be working with our gel, and this is the reason that I wanted to go with the concealer pink base. So this way we're going to have our base gel and our sculpting gel. Those are going to work together, and you're going to get a really nice consistent color all the way through. Now, sometimes if you work with the clear base, that first one that I was showing you, if you use the clear base, you may see just a slight clear layer as you're doing your fills and things like that. So I do like to try to keep everything consistent. So if I am using the concealer blush that we're going to use today, I do like to use that concealer pink base. Personal preference, you can use either one, but this is what I like to use. All right, so we've got our nail ready to go. We're all prepped. We've got our form on there. So I'm going to use, again, that concealer blush. And we're going to start by just creating a free edge. So just basically building out an extension. And I'm going to squeeze out a little bit of that product right at where that natural nail connects to the form. So squeeze a little bit of that out. And then I'm going to use the nozzle to move that from side to side. Now, if you guys take a look from the side, I'm not using a lot of pressure. I'm basically floating over the surface of my product and just guiding that over from side to side. So again, using the nozzle, you can angle it up if you need to. You can angle it down if you need to work that product a little bit smoother. But again, just guiding that from side to side all the way up into that corner. And I'm going to turn the nozzle so that I'm just using the point of that right up into that corner. And then I'll use it and just gently, just like a feathering motion, pulling that product down the length of the form. Again, I'm not using pressure. I'm floating on the surface of my product. Now, if I need a little bit more product to give it a little bit more length, I'll squeeze out just a tiny little bit more. And again, working that down the length of that form. Still staying on top of it. I'm not putting pressure into it. Just gently guiding that out to the length that I want. Now, I'm going to take that little tile that I was using before that I was showing you guys our color on here. I like to use my brush, and I'll use that tile to clean off my brush. So it's just a nice clean space to wipe out any gel that might be in my brush so that I have a nice clean brush to work with. Now, I don't have to, but I can use my brush if I feel like I need to. And I'm going to use that just to, I don't know, just even this out a little bit more, clean up my edges just a little bit. So at this point, I'm using just the top part of my brush here. I'm not using really anything back through here, just using that top part. And I'm almost using it like a pen or a pencil to draw in that line to make sure that I've got enough product all the way connecting from my corner up here all the way down to the point or the length of the nail that I want to create. Same thing on the other side. I can turn that nail on the other side and I can still use just that point of the brush. And again, just drawing in that line. Now, if I have any extra product hanging down below, you can see that my line isn't perfect. I'm going to wipe out my brush, make sure that it's nice and flat. You can kind of see if I look from the edge, it's more like a wedge. So it looks more like a wedge at this point. I'm going to use the edge of my brush. Now, here's where, depending on where you need product, it's going to depend on how you turn your brush. If I need to pull my product back up into the corner here, I'm going to turn my brush on this side. I'm going to use the edge and I'm going to pull that product right up into that corner. Clean out my brush. If I needed to bring product away from that corner, maybe I had too much product up there to begin with, again, clean out your brush, turn your brush from this direction and pull forward. So again, just depending on where you need to bring product, if you, whoops, I'm going to throw my brush around here. If you need to bring product back up into that corner, pull back. If you need to pull product out of that corner, pull forward. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Now you can see here, I've got a little bit of extra product right up here in the corner. That, again, I'm going to pull that away. I don't want that right in that corner, right on the skin or anything like that. So I'm going to pull that away. So again, straight down. Now, as I pulled away, it did pull a little bit more than I needed to pull. So I got a little bit of a space right up in this corner. You can see just that little gap right in that corner. So now I'm going to turn my brush around and pull back. So really depending on what direction you're moving your brush is going to help, or it's going to pull your product where you need it. So just keep that in mind. If you need to bring product back, pull back. If you need to bring product down towards the end or take product away from that corner, pull away. Okay, just one of those, again, little tricks, little tiny details that make a big difference. So again, I think I'm going to pull just a little bit more of that product right back up into that corner. I think I'm even going to use the point of my brush to bring that right back in there. Okay, I think I like how that's looking. And you can see at this point now I've got a pretty good extension here. So let's get this into our light. And I'll show you guys what's going on here. So I've got the nail into the light. So we're going to freeze that into place for about 30 seconds. What that's going to do is it's just going to set our free edge into place. So that way it's not going to move and we can build on top of it and we can sculpt out the rest of our structure. Now, I was telling you guys earlier about the concealer base and just our clear base. So base is it's a really good bonding product. So this, I know we've got our protein bond on the nail, but the base gel is really designed to give you the best adhesion. So if you're doing a full set or if you're doing a fill, always make sure that you start with the base on the natural nail. You need that little bit of extra bond before you go into your sculpting or building gels. So I just took a little bit, and I'll show you guys a little bit. So just a little pearl on the end of my brush. That was about all I needed. Now with this gel, this is one of the few gels that I'm going to tell you, put some pressure with your brush. Put some pressure. You can see if we look from the side, I'm using a little bit of pressure with my brush. What that's going to do is it's really going to get all of that product right down into all the little nooks and crannies of that nail. If you're trying to use too much and you're just floating that product on there, a couple of things are going to happen. First of all, you're probably not going to have as much of a bond as you need. I know that sounds weird, but if you get too much of the base on, it may affect your bond. I know, again, it's weird, but it can happen. The other thing, and probably more crucial in your mind, is If you put too much base on and then try to cure that, that base gel is going to get really hot. So make sure that you're just applying a nice thin, even layer over that whole natural nail, using some pressure, get it into all the little nooks and crannies of the nail, and then we'll get that back into the light again for another 30 seconds. So just like we did before, pop that into the light for another 30 seconds. All right. Somebody's asking, did you put base gel before the extension? So what I did is, we'll just give this another few seconds here, but on the extension, I just build that out with just our concealer blush. The natural nail up here is where you need to make sure that you're putting that base gel. You don't have to build out the extension in base. You just want to make sure that you have base up on the natural nail area up here so that your gel is going to bond really well to that natural nail. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So at this point, we're going to pinch our form away. We're going to remove that form. Now, you have to do that very carefully because if you look from the side, all we have is just that very, very thin layer. And all that layer is our extension. It's a platform for us to work on. So we could now go ahead and do whatever application we want over this. We could build one solid color. We could do a dimensional look, however we want to create our nail. But we've got this basically our platform to work on. So what we're going to do today is just a solid color nail, just like this. So to apply our gel and build up the structure, we want to take, again, that concealer blush. Now, I'm going to squeeze out a little bit of my product. Now, I want you guys to see this from the side. So I'm not actually touching the nozzle to the nail. I'm going to keep it a little ways away. And what that's going to do is that's going to allow us to get a little bit of thickness to our gel. So again, you can see squeezing, squeezing, squeezing. So now if I turn that from the side, you can see how thick my product is already. Okay. Let me just, actually, I'm going to wipe that off really quick just so you guys can see a little bit of the difference as to why I do that. If I were to just put the nozzle directly onto the nail and squeeze out that product, you're not going to get as much thickness. Now I could, squeeze out a lot more, but again, you're not going to get the thickness as if you were to squeeze from higher up. So we want to make sure that we're building proper thickness and proper structure. So you want to make sure that you are leaving enough of that product on the nail. Okay, I'm going to use the nozzle and I'm just going to work in circular motions. So as I'm working my product out to the left side, I'm working in a counterclockwise motion. When I bring my product to the right side, I'm going to work in a clockwise motion, just to bring that up into that cuticle area. And by doing those circular motions, this is going to help to keep your product nice and rounded up by that cuticle. Okay, so again, counterclockwise to the left side, clockwise to the right side. And then I'm just going to start to pull that product down the length of the nail. I'm still staying on top of it. I'm not putting a lot of pressure into it. I'm just floating over it. And you can see that little string. So that little string of gel, that's really my guide. I'm just pulling that little string wherever I need it. Okay. Now, when we get to this point, we're probably going to need a little bit more gel. So I always squeeze out my gel from the center. I don't squeeze my gel when I'm out on the sides. If you start to squeeze out the extra gel on the sides, it's probably going to start to run down the sides and it's going to create a mess. So coming back to the center, squeeze out your gel in the center, and then rocking that nozzle from side to side or pulling in a back and forth motion. Okay, but again, still just gliding over the surface. I'm not putting pressure on. Use that little string of gel to really move that product. Now, one other thing that I want you guys to see is as I'm working, I'm going to turn this on the side. I'm keeping the nail at a slight downward angle. I'm not holding the nail flat like this. If I did hold it flat, what could happen is my product is actually going to start to settle and it's going to run down into the sides, and then I'm going to have product all the way down along my sidewalls. By keeping that nail angled slightly downward, I actually am creating a little bit of gravity to pull that product down the length of the nail. Now, you guys, take a look at that. If you were doing a smile line, you already have that smile line into place. You could cure this nail and then do your white and you'd have a beautiful French. We're not going to be doing a French today. We're going to squeeze out a little more of that product and again, bring that down the length of the nail. And I kind of do a little bit of that back and forth motion to create that French or to create that smile line look. So again, if you were doing a smile line, that's exactly how you would create that smile. But today we're going to do just a solid color over the whole nail. So I'm going to start to feather out that product so it's nice and thin, nice and tapered at the end. And if we take a look at this, we're starting to get pretty good structure in there. It looks like I need a little bit more product around my edges here, maybe a little bit closer to my cuticle. So I'm going to come back in with my brush. Again, clean out my brush, making sure that I don't have any product on there. I'm going to use my brush and very gently work that product into any areas that I need it. If I need to, I can push that a little bit closer to my cuticle area. A little bit more down along my sides. Whoops, looks like we got a little bit of a fuzz on there. Let's get rid of that. And as I'm working, notice that I do pivot my brush so that around my cuticle here, I'm working through here. On my sides, I pivot and I turn my brush so that I can get that product right up along the edge. Same thing over on my other side, pivot my brush and get that product down to the edges. Now, you have to be careful that as you're working, your product is a little bit self-leveling. Now, you can see it's not really running, but if I were to let this sit for too long, it is going to start to run and flow. So I want to get my product on there and get it back into the light as quickly as possible. And then I'm going to freeze this layer for another 30-second freeze. After 30 seconds, I'm going to take the nail out and we're going to look at it and then we're going to check it. We're going to check to make sure, is our structure correct? Do we have enough product where we need it? All of those things we're going to check. And if we need to add more, then we'll add more product. Otherwise, if we don't need to add more product, then we can just go ahead and do a full cure of 60 seconds. But at this point, let's take a look. So if we look from this view, it was looking really good. You know, our shape is looking good. Everything is looking about right. But when we look at it from the side, it looks flat. Okay. I can see that my product is coming up at a slight angle. It's getting a little bit thicker right through here, right in that stress area where we need it, but it flattens out through the rest of that nail. We want to make sure that we're building up proper structure, and we want to make sure that our product is nice and thin and tapered at that cuticle area. It comes up to a little bit of a higher arch right through the stress area and then flows back down to that free edge. Now, again, it looks like we're on the right track, but I think we just need to fill in right through our stress area right here. And the purpose of having that stress area or having that higher point or that apex, however you want to call it, the purpose of that is to absorb impact. So if we have just a very flat nail, and I'm going to show you guys on this one. Say if we had a really flat nail and we jammed our finger on something, all of that pressure, when you hit the end of that nail, all of that pressure goes right in the stress area. So if that stress area is too flat, that nail is going to have more of a tendency to break or crack. So if we build up our arch a little bit more and create a little bit more strength, our nail is going to be able to withstand a little bit more of that pressure if we do accidentally bump the nail. So all I did at this point was squeezed out a little bit of that product right down the center, and I'm going to feather out the edges of it. I'm not going to feather out or pull all of that product. I'm just blending a little bit on those sides. So this is going to help to build up right through the arch, right through that apex, right through and create that full structure that we want without leaving too much of a ridge or a ledge on the sides. Now I can use my brush to just blend that back gently. And you guys, don't worry about creating a perfect smooth surface. We are going to go through and file this. So all we need to be concerned about really at this point is creating the proper structure, or making sure that that proper structure is actually in that nail. So again, just going to kind of check through here, making sure everything is where we want it. And then we'll go ahead back into the light to cure this. Now you guys, as we're curing this, make sure if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, join our community, join our channel, get free education, and just have some fun with us. So again, that nail now is going to go into our light for a full 60-second cure. Once that comes out, it is going to have, excuse me, it is going to have a tacky surface. So we do need to remove the tacky surface, and to do that, we're going to use our swipe. So the same product that we were working with earlier, the same cleanser, we're going to use that to clean off the tacky surface of our gel. Now, we're going to give that just a little bit longer in the light, but in the meantime, a lot of times what I like to do is just go through, clean up. So clean up my tubes here, close everything up, clean out my brush. Now, if I need to clean out my brush, I can just use that tile again to wipe out any extra gel that's in there, and then just kind of tuck that back into shape, and I'll pop my brush cover back on. And you guys, the brush that I'm using today, this is our Pro Gel Sculptor. It comes with 2 pieces, so it's got that handle for you, and it's also got that, I guess that handle doubles as a brush cover. So you can always keep your brush nice and clean and covered up. All right, so once everything is cleaned up, our nail is cured out. We do have, again, I was telling you, that tacky surface on there. So we're going to use our swipe. I'm going to pump a little bit of that onto a lint-free wipe, and we're going to cleanse this nail. So I'm going to just wipe off that tacky surface. Somebody's saying I thought that was gel. If you're saying I thought that was gel to me, yes, you guys, this is gel. This is our Synergy Hard Gel. So that's why it was curing in the light. So yes, you are on the right track. All right, you guys, so we're going to do a quick little swap out here today. Got just a little bit of gel on here. I've already got a nail that I have mostly filed, so we're not going to take you through the whole entire filing process today. We've got some amazing videos on how to file your nails here on our YouTube channel. Again, you guys, we've got over 3,000 videos on how to file your nails. So we're gonna skip and kind of fast forward through this a little bit. I'm gonna finish filing this nail, and then we'll actually get into our design and our art today. So stick around here. To finish file, again, you guys, I've already gone through with my electric file, smoothed out my surface, my perimeter, my edges, all of those great things. I'm just going to come back in and finish filing everything, making sure everything is nice and straight along those sides. I'm going to check my lower arches to make sure that my lower arches are nice and straight. Same thing on the other side. And then we'll check up and around. So we're just going to, again, like I said, just do some finish filing here. If you need any more information on how to start your filing process, again, check out our YouTube channel here. We've got a ton of great videos on how to file out your nails and how to finish them up. So check those out. Just gonna do one final check from all my different sides. I check my left side, my right side. I look straight down the barrel of the nail, making sure everything is nice and smooth and even. And then I always turn that hand around and I check from my client's perspective. So this is how your client is going to see her nails. She's going to look at her nails like this. So you want to make sure that you are checking from how she's going to see those nails. So just one last check along my sides, straightening out my shape, straightening out that free edge. And I'm going to look backwards down the barrel of this nail. Let me readjust you guys so you can see. There we go. I'm just going to flow my file all the way through that whole extension, making sure everything is nice and smooth and even, cleaning up all the way around the edges. And I still look from different angles. I don't just look down the barrel of the nail this way. I tilt that from one side, I tilt that from the other side. So this way I can actually see if there are any high spots, low spots, lumps or bumps, or anything that I need to fix or straighten out. All right, so again, you guys, if you need more information on how to file your nails, we definitely have some great YouTube videos here for you. So check those out. But we're going to get into our design. So we're actually just going to be doing, a French manicure. You guys, that's easy, right? A French manicure. Anybody else's clients walk in and say, I just want something simple today, like a French manicure. You guys, let me know in the chat. Have you ever had somebody walk into your salon and say, I just want something easy like a French manicure? Because I know it happens all the time. But we're going to hopefully make this French manicure easy for you. So I'm going to just clean that nail one more time with our swipe, dusting off all of that dust, cleansing anything from that nail that doesn't need to be there. Somebody says, nobody better ask me for a French. Hopefully after today's video, you're going to feel comfortable doing a French manicure. I'm going to give you some hints on how to make it a little bit easier. So I'm going to start with one coat of my protein bond. Now, after I coat my protein bond, you've got options. You can either go right into your French manicure, right into that free edge color, however you want to do it. But personally, I find that I get a smoother finish if I seal that filed nail. Now, we don't want to buff the nail to make it smooth because we need texture for our gel to adhere to. But I don't like the texture for polishing on, especially a French, because that French is so detailed, it's so intricate. If I just polish on over that texture, I'm going to see that texture. So I'm actually going to put a coat of our matte non-tack top coat on, and that's going to give me more of a smooth finish to do my French on. So we're going to just go one coat all the way from cuticle to free edge, brush that all the way through. And this is going to start to fill in those little cracks, or not cracks, you guys. We don't have cracks on the nail at this point. It's going to fill in those scratch marks. Basically everything that we filed with our file, it's going to fill that in and smooth that out. So that's why I like to use the matte finish. So again, we'll get that into the light. I'm going to fully cure this for 60 seconds. And while that's curing, let's have some fun. You guys want to mix a color? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat if you want to mix a color or if you just want a solid color. Let me know. I think I know what you're going to say because I know I always like to mix color. But if you just want just a basic color, we could do that too. Oh, you guys, I know you want a color mix, you want a color blend, you want to see something fun. So I'm just cleaning off my mixing tile here. I'm just going to use a little bit of our On to the Next polish remover, clean off that gel. And when I'm doing my French manicures, especially on my, my enhancements like this, I love using our Mission Control gel paints. I love the consistency. Ooh, Nikki says teal and purple. Almost. But I do. I love the consistency of the Mission Control because the colors are very highly pigmented, but they are also not very self-leveling. So you can get really crisp, really intricate designs using the Mission Control gel paints. So that's what we're going to use today. And pink and purple mix. All right, you guys, we got two of our colors here. We've got Mega Jam and we've got Orbit. So Mega Jam is kind of that bright pink, fuchsia, magenta, however you want to call it. So we're going to make sure that is mixed up. Sometimes after these products have set for a little bit or sitting in your drawer for a little bit, they can start to separate just a little bit. So make sure that they are completely mixed. So I'm going to take a little bit of our Mega Jam, and I want to make sure I clean off my spatula in between. I'm going to take a little bit of Orbit, again making sure that it is mixed up. And you guys, you can create whatever custom colors you want. If you do a quick search for the, what is it called? The color wheel. I had to stop and think there for a second. Do a quick search for the color wheel, and that's going to help you when you're mixing colors. If you're mixing colors that are close to each other on the palette or on the color wheel, you're going to get really good color combinations. So just use that as a guide, and you can come up with your own beautiful creations. So we're going to take our Mega Jam and Orbit. And what color do you think this is going to make? Let me know in the chat. Throw whatever color you think this, I know you guys, you're already seeing it, but whatever color you think this is going to make, put a heart in the chat of that color. Now again, you guys, I know you're already seeing what color this is going to make, but go ahead and throw some hearts in the chat anyways. But as we're mixing our Mega Jam and our Orbit, we are getting a deep, let's see, Sarah says a deep purple. Yes, we are getting a deep purple, a beautiful, rich purple. Somebody's also asking, is Mission Control a hard gel? Yes, Mission Control is a hard gel. So this is not going to soak off. But when you're working over enhancements, you're probably going to be filing your design off anyways. So you would just go through and file off your Mission Control paints. All right, so we've got a beautiful dark purple. Now you guys, it's spring, so let's make it a little bit more pastel. Let's add a little bit of Fizz, and that's our white. So we're going to grab a little bit of Fizz, and we're going to add that in. So again, you guys, it's really easy to custom mix and customize your colors for whatever occasion, whatever season. You can create beautiful colors just by mixing. And keep in mind, mixing in white is going to help you get more pastel or light colors. Mixing in a little bit more black is going to help darken your colors. So just keep that in mind as you're mixing and creating and coming up with your colors. All right, I think we are looking pretty good here. For my design, I do want to make sure that I really have all of that color mixed together, that I don't have any last little bits of darker color or more of that white. I do want to make sure this is really well mixed. So I'm just smoothing that all together, bringing all of that color together and making sure that there's no swirls in there or any patterns at all. And I think that looks good. So let's bring that all back together. And you guys, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. I know you guys want to keep joining us and keep learning, so make sure you subscribe. All right, let's close up our colors. And let me show you the brushes that I'm going to be using for our nail today. So I've got a couple of different ones that I like to use. My first one is going to be just our basic liner brush. I would say it's a medium length liner brush. It's not a really long, but it's also not our micro detailer, which is the other brush that I'm going to use. So if you can see both of these, you can see that the liner on the right is a little bit longer than the micro detailer on the left. But I do like to use both of those for certain points here. And then I'm also going to use, this is one of our art brushes. It's just a kind of a shorter oval brush, but I like to use that for when I'm creating basically more of the full coverage. So we're going to start with the liner brush, and I'm going to roll my brush into that gel paint. And you can see I actually roll it between my fingers here. So rolling that in the gel paint is going to really load up that brush. And then you can take out any extra if you need to. But my brush is now loaded up. And here's how I make sure that my French design is going to be nice and even. I'm going to start, and I'm going to look at this straight on. So you guys, it might look a little bit offset because I'm looking at it straight, and to you guys it's going to be just a slight angle. But I'm going to start with a dot on either side of my nail, so a dot on the left side, and then I'm going to come straight across and put a dot on my right side. That's going to be my guideline for how far up my smile line is going to go. I'm going to come from the center, so pick your center point. I'm going to bring all the way down to wherever I want my smile line to basically end. So right in the middle there. So I don't know if you guys can see this. We'll come in just a little bit closer. So you can see I've got a dot, and a dot. Now I'm just going to connect the dots. So I'm going to pull my brush through my gel paint one more time. I'm going to start on the other side. Now I do roll that finger over so that I can really see where I'm coming from. I'm not going to just start in here and come in and hope for the best. I want to make sure that I can see exactly where I am drawing my line. So I'm going to touch the point of my brush down and start to lay the brush down a little bit more and bring that right into the middle. Maybe pick up a little bit more. If I need to, if it's easier, I can turn my brush around and I can set or start that at the center and pull back. So whichever angle is easier for you, go for it. Sometimes it's easier from this direction, sometimes it's easier from this direction. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to turn that finger on the side again so I can see. Roll my brush through my paint. Start at that corner point, lay my brush down, and drag that into the center. Connect that center. And, all right, you guys, is it looking perfect? Let me know. Let me know in the chat. Does that look perfect to you? I want to know what you guys are seeing. Okay, don't worry if it's not perfect at this point. I know it's not perfect. We're going to perfect it. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to fill in this free edge. Now, you could use your liner brush to fill in that free edge, but personally, I think that's going to take too long. That's where my art brush comes in. So I'm going to take a little bit of that gel paint on my art brush, and I'm going to just feather that right through that whole entire free edge. So this way I can get that full even coverage all the way through, and I don't have to use that liner brush and take extra long to do that. All right, I know you guys are saying it's not perfect. And at this point, you're right. It is not perfect. I'm not worried that it's not perfect. Right now, all I'm trying to do is make sure that I've got good coverage all the way through my free edge, all the way down along these sides. Now, another thing I can do is use my micro detailer. If I feel like I can do a little bit better to clean up that smile line, I can use that micro detailer and just get that really nice straight little edge really perfect up in there. Blend out that color a little bit. So again, you guys, you can use whichever brushes feel best for you. And sometimes I like to use the micro detailer, sometimes I like to use the liner brush. But I'm going to show you one other trick here in just a second. If you are still struggling with getting that line perfect, or you can see I am starting to get a little shaky here, that's okay. What I'm going to do, I'm going to grab another art brush, and this is more of, come on, just a little bit here. Oops, too much, sorry. This is more of an oval shaped brush. This is actually one of our old art brushes. I'm going to turn the client's hand around. I am going to look at this nail from this view. Okay, so what you guys are seeing is exactly what I'm seeing. I'm going to take a little bit of my Onto the Next polish remover, pump a little bit of that up into the cup, and I'm going to use that polish remover and the brush to perfect my smile line. Okay, so let's come in nice and close so you can see. I'm going to use the point of my brush. Again, I've got a little bit of that polish remover on it. I'm going to start in the center, and I'm just going to gently and slowly sweep all the way down that side, coming all the way to that corner. Same thing, I'm going to take a little bit more of that polish remover, start in the center. Whew, you guys, I got a little bit shaky, so if you do start to get shaky, just stop for a second and maybe just put your brush down, shake out your hands, take a deep breath. For me, those are usually things that will help to stabilize my hand again. Sometimes when I'm doing really detailed work like this, I tend to like hold my breath. So if I'm holding my breath or if I'm holding my brush too tight, that's where I usually start to get a little bit shaky. So again, if you need to, stop for a second, put your brush down. Again, I'm just going to slowly drag my brush right down that line. So now we've got a really nice crisp line. I'm going to get this into the light. And you guys, if it's still not 100% perfect, I can still come back to fix it up. But I do want to get this into the light to freeze this layer into place. So whoops, I actually have to turn the light on, don't I? So I do stop and cure this into place. And then if I need to do any last little touch-ups, I can go ahead and do those last touch-ups. And usually when I do those last touch-ups, I'm using that micro detailer brush. Again, that's that really super small brush. So just freeze that into place. I would say 20 to 30 seconds or so is going to set that product into place enough for you to be able to move on to the next step. So again, at this point, if I need to, I can use that micro detailer. Just take a tiny little bit of that paint and just touch up anywhere you might need to touch up. So again, you guys, when people say they want a French manicure, it's not an easy process. And sometimes you do have to spend a little bit longer on your French manicure than you would, say, any other art. But do consider your French manicures art. Do charge extra for it because it is going to take you a little bit of extra time and a lot of extra skill. I will tell you that. So make sure that if you are doing French manicures, especially extended and elongated French manicures like this, they do take time. So book yourself accordingly and charge accordingly so that your clients are happy with it at the end and you're happy with it at the end and you're not stressed or struggling. So charge accordingly. Okay, I think we've got our smile line in there. Now, if you needed to, you could go back through and do a second coat of your color, but this one does cover fairly well. So if you need to, you can go ahead and touch that up. If you don't need to, move on to your next step. And again, you guys, you could leave this just as it is, or we're going to add just a few little accents. And again, you guys, a super easy, super fun way to accent your smile lines is just some little dots. So I'm going to start with my dotting tool. I'm going to take a little bit of that gel paint. I'm going to start in the center and just continuously dot all the way up the length of that smile line. Now, you could just leave it like that and that would be super cute. I'm actually going to set this really quickly into place. I'm just going to freeze this into place. And again, you could use the UV LED light. You could put that whole hand back in there. But I'm going to grab our touch cure light and just freeze those into place. Now again, if you feel comfortable, you can definitely go on to the other side of your dots and continue that process. But I like to set them into place. If I have a design that I like and it looks good, I want to freeze it so that way if I do accidentally mess something up on the other side, I can just wipe it off really quick and I don't mess up that first design. So let's go back into our gel paint. We'll grab a little bit more. Let's go back up our other side. Make sure I'm in camera here. All right. Now, when you're doing the second side, you want to kind of eyeball it to make sure that you're keeping your dots fairly even with each other, but don't overthink it. Okay? Don't overstress if they're not 100% perfect. Just don't stress, okay? All right, so again, we'll grab our touch cure light, freeze those dots into place, and then we'll go ahead and finish our nail. So those of you that are new to our channel, first of all, make sure to hit the subscribe button, join our community, get all of this great free education. And those of you that know what time it is, it's top coat time. So let's go ahead and start our top coat chant in the chat. If you're new, just follow the crowd. They know what to do. So we'll start our top coat chant in the chat. And I am going to finish my nail with our Ultimate Finish top coat. You could finish with whatever top coat you want to use. If you want to use the matte finish, you could actually finish the nail with the matte finish. If you want to finish with stain resistant, you could definitely use stain resistant, manicure top. All of those different top coats are going to work great. Just depends on what you prefer and what your client needs. So I'm just coating this one coat. There's one little piece of fuzz right on there. I think we got it. So one even coat of our Ultimate Finish top coat. Now this is going to need to cure fully for 60 seconds. Sorry guys, my brain stopped for a second there. So again, Ultimate Finish does need to cure for a full 60 seconds. I'm probably going to pop it into the light here for about 30 just so you guys can see the final look. But when you've cured the Ultimate Finish, it will be a tack-free finish. So you don't have to worry about cleansing anything off the surface. It is going to be tack-free. It's going to be a beautiful high shine, and you're going to have your gorgeous spring French manicure, all ready for Easter or just for springtime. So you guys, again, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, join our community. I know you guys, those of you that are normally with us here, you probably didn't get the text message today. We have updated our texting system. So we do have a new texting number. Maybe our moderators might be able to get that into the chat for you, but we are working through and getting everybody re-upped into our texting community. If you are already part of our texting community, don't worry, you don't have to do anything. Just make sure to save our new number, and we've sent messages so you guys know what the new number is. But yes, our texting will be back on track very soon, so make sure to watch for those. But in the meantime, we will be back, I believe, again tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to be working on a whole bunch of different art designs. So if you're looking for art inspiration, make sure to join us back tomorrow, right around the same time. So thank you everyone for joining us today. We will see you back tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Thanks everybody.